Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels. We will be getting back to that horrible world known as the JRC, but first, the disclaimers, the trigger warnings, and just a small smidgen of complaining. Because unfortunately, you all are a small bit of personal therapy where I could just let off a little bit of steam because the last few days have been an absolute political field mind. And advocacy, trying to size up people who seem to just have nothing I could nail them. Kind of hard to read people who change their minds every single second. You know, I gotta get a read on these people. And it's hard to get a read on a person with get a cult of personality and suddenly they disappear. Or they say one thing and I can't deal with it. Can't deal with it. Too much rapid change. We'll go over that in a moment. But first, folks, if you're unfamiliar with the Stop the Shocks campaign or the campaign against the troubled teen industry, pertinent links are right there in the description box. Autistic Hoya's massive archive in regards to this subject is in there for you all. That's where we get the bulk of our material, bulk of all of our receipts from, in regards to all of this insanity. We got the article written by Neuroclastic, where they interviewed over 800 ABA professionals in regards to the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center's bizarre, batshit insane so-called behavior modification program. That one did get under the JRC's skin so much they threatened poor Neuroclastic with a defamation lawsuit. I don't know if somebody that big with that much money, that much power, that much unlimited resources is somehow really trying to shut down one single article that is not on a major website. There's probably something in there we all need to know. So please read the article. We've got a link to their GoFundMe in there because, unlike the JRC, we do not have access to unlimited control, unlimited resources, and unlimited funds. Okay? Essentially, we wing it. Thankfully, there's enough of us winging it that we are able to get some things done. Alright, now, trigger warnings. When we speak about places like the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center or Agape Boarding School for Boys, you will hear vivid descriptions of, catch clips or surveillance footage of people with mental health issues and disabled people being tortured and abused. If you got young children present, please use your headphones. This channel is marked not for kids for a reason. We do use profanity on, well, not on occasion. It's me who we try to kid care. And we definitely speak on dark subjects. If your kid is 16 and younger and watching, obviously parental supervision is advised. So, politics. What in the name of God is happening? What in the actual name of God? Okay, so what did we hear during this entire Trump campaign, right? We are going to bring in the crap pot batshit insane RFK Jr. to head the CDC and the FDA, right? Mr. Vaccines are the bad guy. And he does literally mean all the vaccines. He's tried to backtrack, but I'm sorry. In this community, we keep our receipts. We keep them for years. We actually hoard them, just specifically for moments like that. But we've gone from that to literally overnight, we've gone from vaccines are bad to, hey, this idea about AIs creating vaccines, we're gonna throw $500 billion at it. What in the actual name of is going on? I'm not saying I'm against it. I've read a little bit into the science about it. I will speak to my mom in regards to it because when it has to do with healthcare, I really kind of don't trust anyone in mainstream politics. I'm going to trust someone who's been in the healthcare field for over 40 years. But this is a bizarre whiplash for me, folks. How did we go from crackpot anti vaxxer, the man that is the definition of put down the crack pipe, RFK Jr., at being in fear in regards to what's going to go down with the vaccines, especially when we have potential for another pandemic right here on our very doorstep. So we've gone from that to AI vaccines for everyone. Granted, with the AI, that's not the only thing that it's covering. In fact, it's not even the main thing. It's also talking about surveillance of cops and out on the streets. I understand what the cops considering, but we already have enough people who think Big Brother is watching. They are. They have been. Ever since smartphones have been a thing, you all are not free from Big Brother. And I absolutely think that you are beyond naive if you don't understand that these devices are already tracking our data and what we do. But yeah. The anti vaxxer side of MAGA has lost their damn minds. I mean, lost their damn minds. So, I'm going to try to see where all of this lands before I begin to start wading into it. And I'm also going to, much to my great relief, put aside trying to follow down the rabbit hole of RFK Jr.'s batshit insanity so I can see where this lands, see what's getting solidified, and then we'll go on from there. So that series is going to go ahead and go on a back channel. Thank God. Thank God, because I couldn't come up with more whacked out shit if I was taking shrooms. That's how crazy that rabbit hole is. I'm kind of relieved. All right? Okay, so there's your update on that. I have no idea what's going on. I'm having extreme difficulty wrapping my brain around all of this because it's not just that it's changing, but it's going from one extreme to a completely different side. You know, it's completely flip flopping. And not just that, it's flip flopping in a very, very short time span. I have no idea what in the name of God is going on. But of course, I'll be keeping my eyes on it. Eventually, we'll see where all of that goes, okay? Alright, so we're going to go to where we left off last night. And again, we're doing this sentence by sentence. Number one, for the sake of my sanity, even though through each sentence I have to end up, more often than not, repeating the same points to you all over and over and over and over again. I know you guys get tired of hearing it. I get tired of saying it. But this is unfortunately how JRC operates. And as long as they continue to annoy me on top of their barbaric actions and crimes against us, I'm going to continue to do this. God help us all. Alright. Now, to the next sentence. Initially, JRC attempted less intrusive means of the treatment with RM. I'm going to stop at this point in the sentence and I'm going to tell you why. Some time ago, about 2 to 3 years ago, you remember the series of videos in regards to Jennifer Masumba's story, correct? Her survival details. Do you remember in particular when she related to you that for the first week, she had no restrictions on her? But what happened was she was having a staff member that constantly had a notebook out. They were constantly writing things in it. This is what they call less intrusive. What it actually is a trap. From Star Wars, it's a trap! Essentially, the way they get away with it in regards to the courts is they have to act at least like there is some semblance of them trying things within the umbrella of positive behavioral supports. So what they do in actuality is nothing whatsoever that even resembles any of the different types of interventions that fall underneath the positive behavioral supports umbrella. What it does is they get introduced, they get that free pizza party within the first week. You remember her talking about that specifically. There's no food restrictions or anything set on her. They don't cop her for stimming, none of it, right? And then after that first week, they took what was written down in the notebook and essentially shoved her in front of a judge and presented that list as to reason why she needed to be put on a human shock collar. There are multiple things that are wrong with that, not just on a moral basis, but for overall medical practice. You can't say that we tried less intrusive when in actuality you just simply gave a week to a student to run free and do whatever the hell that they wanted to do without interference. That is not what less intrusive positive behavioral supports, regardless of which one under the umbrella that you're using, looks like. Okay? That's not less intrusive intervention. That is no intervention at all. Okay? You're not trying anything. You're acting as an observer and writing down observations that you use against the student later so that you can, traumatize another one of us. Number one. Number two, when we look at positive behavioral supports and the different interventions that fall underneath that umbrella, if anybody in their right mind sincerely thinks that you can decide within the very short time span of a singular week of whether those types of supports are going to be successful or not, you are smoking crack. Point blank, I'm not going to mince my words. If you think you can determine that any of the interventions that fall underneath the positive behavioral supports umbrella, if you think that with only the span of a singular week, you can find out whether that program that you're choosing is actually going to work or not, let alone try and tell us that you tried multiple positive behavioral support different interventions and none of them worked within a week, you are so full of shit. Denial's not just a river in Egypt, okay? Layman's terms, that just simply isn't possible. Any of those interventions that fall underneath that umbrella, you're not going to be seeing results right away. You are definitely not going to see results for even a singular intervention within that time span. It's far too short of a time span. Okay? But none of the behaviors would change. No fuck. You think? Let me make this even a little bit easier to understand. We have a modus operandi just like everybody else. Okay? It is learned or natural, whatever the case may be, that we've been operating off of literally to the point to when we're getting integrated into the service system. You cannot expect that something like one of the interventions that fall underneath that umbrella to be able to show you if whether it's going to work or not within the space of a week. It is not enough goddamn time. Interventions like that take time to work. Number one, we're not used to them. Okay? It takes time to get ourselves used to interacting with whatever intervention program that we join into. Okay? You cannot make me believe for a single goddamn second that you tried multiple positive behavioral support interventions with an extremely short span of a singular week and you were able to determine within that small space of time that none of them's going to work. Science, real life, and reality do not work like that. Okay? If that had been the kind of measure they put me on when I first came into the service system, I don't want to think about it, but it sure as hell wouldn't have been good. For one thing, I've told you all, I'm extremely stubborn. I'm bullheaded. And there are some things where I will stick my heels in like I am summoning both natures of my dad at his most unmovable and my mom on her last damn nerve. Where I will refuse to move an inch. It takes time to integrate changes into your life if you're a neurotypical. If you are an autistic who is already resistant to change in a way most neurotypicals are not, it's going to take that time that much longer. The reality is there is no positive behavioral support intervention program that you are going to see immediate results from. That includes if it is supplemented with proper medications. It's not enough time. Okay? It's not enough time. So, in actuality, JRC, you really don't know at all whether it would work or not. Now they'll tell you, but before they came to JRC, they went to those other programs with the positive behavioral supports. Why didn't their behaviors change then, Tiffany? Because you morons. There was no full functional behavioral assessment done. It is the easiest answer on planet Earth. You give a person no foundation and just throw them in the service system, and then you're going to act shocked when nothing works, and then decide that the only answer is to send them into Gitmo for autistics? Because that's the logic that you're wanting me to buy here, JRC. You want me to forget what I know after damn near 20 years of work about the full functional behavioral assessment, the absolutely essential foundation that it provides, the foundational information that is collected to inform every single last part within the treatment program, including if supplemental medication needs to become a part of it. If you don't have that foundation, nothing's going to work because you don't know what's wrong. Neurotypicals are not okay, people. The neurotypicals are not okay. All right? They're like, but don't you want to be more like that? No, no, no. Just shove me back in the who's cow and shoot me in the back of the head. That's a whole bunch of hell now. All right? Just saying. You all call us nuts, but no. I'll take my cold logic over whatever the hell it is you all have turned our world into any day. Sorry, not sorry. But, anyways, not the point. These interventions take time. You are never at any point going to be trying out an intervention that's going to work right away. You are certainly not going to be able to determine that within a small span of a week. And when you get the JRC not just saying the week, but said that they've tried multiple ones, I'm sorry, that is not possible. You are not given near enough time to collect the appropriate amount of data on each intervention that you're trying. You are talking bullshit. Absolute, unadulterated bullshit. Number two, you are playing Russian roulette. Literally a guess game. Well, this didn't work. Spin the bottle. Oh, that didn't work. Spin the bottle. Are you all for real? Well, and then you come, well, see, we tried all this, all the other things, and it's just not working. This is the only thing that works. And you don't understand this population. I understand this population more than the people at the JRC or anybody else that's not neurodivergent that works in this system ever will. Screaming at me at top volume, "You're not like my child." I've had that happen. You guys have no idea. But I do remember one day when I snapped in my office and be like, "Ma'am, that may be true, but I will forever be more like your child than you and the doctors ever will be. I am the older autistic who's made it. You might want to sit around and listen and figure out at the very least how that was done." Strangely enough, I didn't even get a complaint that made that Karen sit down that day. And that was kind of a gamble too, but sometimes. So, no foundational information from a full functional behavioral assessment, then you can't be surprised in regards to sending the kids to different places and those interventions not working. Because you don't know what type of interventions are going to best address the issues at hand if you don't have that full functional behavioral assessment done that can lay it all nice and clear in the black and white, point blank, period. You can't even get around in regards to what might be a good supplemental prescription if there is a case where it is needed. might work the best, because where's the information? That's foundational information. If you don't have that, you don't know what you're doing. And not just you, but the direct care staff, the heads of these residential school programs, the heads of these day programs, the heads of the group homes. You are giving no one anything to go off of. So when everybody gets frustrated, they finally kick them to the JRC. Then the JRC gives the poor kid a singular week without a single intervention being done before they're dragged in front of a court a week later. Literally a week later. How anyone on planet Earth buys this shit? I mean, you don't have to be a doctor that works in the field to be able to comprehend that no intervention program is going to show results immediately. Definitely not within the time span of a week. Very small strides did not start to get noticed in regards to my person-centered planning program until a year and a half later. A year and a half, folks. Change takes time. Change takes even more time for those of us who have a neurology that makes us resistant to it. Okay? Saying you tried multiple interventions within a week and using that as an excuse to throw them on a human shock collar makes no medical mental health sense whatsoever. That is not enough time to gather any type of data to figure out if it's going to be a good fit or not. It becomes even more crystal clear that you couldn't even see one small thing in a singular day in regards to them not working, because you don't know where the difficulties actually lie. You fall under the same false ideas that are prevalent throughout ABA, which is this absolutely condescending, holier thou thought that you don't need to learn from us what the triggers are, what our motivations are while we do the things that we do. Because you, in your great neurotypical, never had even so much as a neurodivergent moment in the entirety of your existence, already obviously know that it is for attention, it's for manipulation, and it's literally none of those things. Literally none of those things. The assessment is there so you can see where the issues actually lie, find out what the triggers actually are, instead of projecting your neurotypical never-ending bullshit as to why you would be that way onto us, and then using that to justify this bizarre brainwashing shit that somehow you've managed to sell to the rest of planet Earth. We all know I never mince my words, but that's what it is. That's what it is. So yeah, you trying for a singular week, which we actually know you don't, because we have multiple witness testimony, as well as the documents in regards to those students during those time periods that very clearly show us otherwise. It was observation, nothing more. Observation is not intervention. Not intervening and writing down all the little things that us neurodivergents do, whether they are actually self-injurious behavior or aggressive behavior or not. You write it down. At the end of the week, you'll haul us in front of the judge, preach to him how we are essentially Cannibal Lecter on crack and hyped up on PCP, and then slap a human shock collar on us and treat us as less than dogs. Okay? Stop insulting not just our intelligence, but the intelligence of the fellows that are in this field. There is a reason why the JRC is literally a byword to everybody in this field, not just on the mental health or developmental disability side of things, but all the way down the board, including organizations that do run schools like that. ARC being the by far largest singular provider for disability services in the United States, bar none. All right, folks, we're going to go ahead and close out on that one for today. We don't get very many views on this channel, and the few we do get do tend to get removed from time to time, so please don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe. Please don't forget to hit the comments. I do appreciate your time. As always, folks, we here at Spilling Tea do hope you have a good one. I'll see you all in a minute. Bye-bye, everyone.